My name is Gail Pollard and I'm Principal of Kalinda Primary School in Ringwood. My leadership team and I have been working with the Australian curriculum since 2012, and we have found that it provides a great platform that enhances and develops other areas of our curriculum.
The school had a review about 4 years ago, and one of the things that came out of that was our literacy and numeracy results, while they were above state and national average, weren't where really our cohort of students should be. And that led into focusing again on explicit teaching. So we've been an inquiry-based school for a long time, and we still do fantastic inquiry-based units. But within that, we needed to really look at where our explicit teaching was taking place and how it was working in terms of literacy and numeracy. We were able to say, here's the new curriculum that's come in. Let's have a look, a real close look at it. What are we meant to be teaching in literacy? What are we meant to be teaching in numeracy? And then using that as a platform to get teachers to refocus on that, refocus on where their kids are at in relation to those areas of the curriculum, and then develop real learning intentions for each of their lessons as they taught them based on the curriculum standards. So we rewrote all our planning documents in Google Docs, which is a collaborative real-time collaborative platform, which meant that all our planning documents could be edited by multiple people at the same time. And having a collaborative document allows the shared approach, so a group of people to all work together on something, and encourages that collaboration, so that sharing of knowledge and ideas.
Some of the essential tools that we've used has to work creatively with the timetable to make sure that people within teams are able to plan at the same time to ensure that they have shared time to put it together. Another essential tool is to have shared documentation so that the planner looks the same and the same expectations are on there in terms of learning intentions, students, differentiation and things like that. So that's a shared understanding across the school and across teachers within a year group. And the third one is to have time together as a team to actually talk through what you've planned as the maths team or what the literacy team has planned, so that there's that shared understanding across the team, and changes can be made or adapted, or your thinking can be explained as to what you've put onto the planner and why.
I'm part of the literacy planning team for Foundation for this term. We have 4 classes and 2 of our teachers plan as part of a maths team and 2 teachers plan as part of a literacy team. The maths team have a scope and sequence that was developed 2 years ago. Again, it's a living document, so it's adjustable. It covers the whole curriculum, so as a foundation team we know that by the end of the year we've hit every mark with regards to the curriculum that we need to cover. With the English curriculum this year we developed another Google document. We've looked at all of the descriptors and we have them in a column and a table, and the elaborations that go with them.
I want you to have a look at the front of this book and tell me what you see.
We would target a focus for the week. So for instance, this week we've been looking at vocabulary in books, and the teachers can then decide whether they want to do that using a big book during shared reading, or whether they want to use it in their guided reading groups, but it's a focus to cover for the week. We then highlight that to know that we've covered it off.
We started to see a real change in the professional conversations our teachers were having, because they knew their students better in that regard. They were more aware of the differing levels of ability within their class, and the conversations change more to how do we actually address these particular needs, or how can we differentiate to meet this group of students. Once that started happening, we started to see an improvement in results, particularly with our lower students.
I was working in level 4 in 2012 and 2013, and we decided to examine closely the new curriculum before we had to start reporting against it. And what became apparent was there were some areas that were the same and then some areas that were different. And the ones that were different, that when I was working on the literacy team, the biggest difference was apparent in the grammar section, where a lot of what you might call old school or technical knowledge was required in order to both deliver it and assess against it, and for the children to demonstrate it. And then we researched what those things meant, what resources we had in the school, and how quickly we could implement them, so that we could bring the kids up as quickly as possible, as thoroughly as possible, to the national curriculum standards for that particular part of it. I guess one of the positive outcomes was that I became well versed in that area of the curriculum, and I became much more confident teaching that aspect of the curriculum as well. So as a result, on some of the NAPLAN tests, particularly in language conventions, we saw a spike. And I guess it goes to show, if you teach something in depth, then the results go up.
So once we'd really looked at literacy and numeracy, we went back to looking at our inquiry units and how they were done. We relaunched the inquiry process as challenge-based learning, which is a specific type of inquiry, still with all the same tenets of inquiry, but with a more focus on developing more 21st century skills. We moved different inquiry units to having one theme or big idea across the whole school. So in that way, we kind of left all our old units behind, and this is another thing where we've shifted to the new curriculum almost in a natural way, because we changed the way we did our inquiry. We wanted a real focus on student engagement and authentic learning, so students being given a challenge and being able to respond to that within their teams in whatever way they liked. The key thing with inquiry is that it is time consuming, but it does allow you to address many areas of the curriculum within the one unit. So rather than just doing a history unit and we're looking at early explorers, you're looking at a big idea. Perhaps the big idea is courage, and early explorers might be a part of that, but you're also bringing in lots of other elements of the curriculum throughout that unit. So by the end of the unit, you've actually ticked off a whole lot of areas, whereas perhaps before we were spending a term on quite a narrow area of the curriculum and finding it difficult to cover everything off. In terms of assessment and reporting, once again we saw the Australian curriculum coming in as a bit of an opportunity. So that challenged us to really think about how we can better communicate to our parents where our students are at. We're saying to them there's a new curriculum in place, the marks that their students are getting might be a little bit different because of that. We're now marking against different standards. So for example, in writing, we've used portfolios to display student work, and then developing assessment slips with that try to explain in parent-friendly language what teachers at that level are actually looking for in the writing, and also having a progression of skills based on the Australian curriculum, a progression of skills and understandings. Parents can see where their child falls in that continuum. So they're seeing where the skills and understandings are built up, and then they can see what the next steps are as well. The other element of our assessment is that we're trying to make it more ongoing. So rather than having just semesterly reports, we've moved in our grade 5, 6 area to put the assessments online. So putting pieces of work onto an online site, a digital portfolio, and the assessments that connect to those, and they are released throughout the semester. So parents are seeing at the time that the work's produced where their students are at and what the next steps are, rather than getting that information several months later in a semesterly report.
Kalinda Primary School has always valued our sister school relationships with schools in Japan and India. We have embedded our studies of Asia through the curriculum, and the Australian curriculum has validated what we have been doing, and we enjoy watching our children become global citizens.
So at Kalinda, we're really excited about the next phase of subjects coming in from the Australian curriculum, particularly around areas like the arts and technologies, because they've been reviewed and developed with expertise from across Australia. So we're really looking forward to, I guess, a more enriched curriculum and embedding that into the programs that we've already got at the school.
Well, the Australian curriculum provides teachers across Australia with a common platform for discussions and professional development, and I think it's a terrific tool for learning.